And we are on. Welcome back. We've got Medieval Dynasty episode 74 today, slash guide. It's going to be a shorter one. And I guess I'm going to go with episode 74 slash guide because we're going to be doing a little bit of each. We're going to basically get into kind of my philosophy and a little diagram that I've created for how I like to do, basically how I'm going to do these guides and how I like to play games. And I might actually do just this whole separate video on that. But I'm kind of calling this an episode because this isn't going to be scripted, right? So I'm going to show us the diagram, I'm going to talk about it a little bit, and then we're going to get into how we comfortably make 10K a day coins in Medieval Dynasty, basically while applying this philosophy. So if we look at our diagram here, I talk about balance a lot, and it's going to be balance, but it's specific balance to you, right? Like if you're right in the middle, that might not be fun for you. So what I use this diagram for is basically all the way to the left. If your dot kind of lands on that line all the way to the left, you are more of a free-for-all person. There's not a lot of organization, and you have fun that way. Whereas a person all the way to the right, like the way they're going to have fun in games is very min-max. Everything's got to be as efficient as possible. But then there's that big middle area, right? So I tend to think that 10% of the people-ish fall on the left side, right? That free-for-all. There's a tiny sliver on the left, and then another 10% maybe in the min-max area, and then the rest of the 80% of people are more in the middle, right? So if I'm here, I'm going to show about where I think my dot is. So for me to play a game like this, I want to be efficient, but at the same time, it's not going to be, like I've talked about before, where you're making buckets all day to get that XP up, right? Like I like to find kind of that happy medium, and that's how it's fun for me to play games, right? So let's say, in a lot of games they'll kind of make themselves to this, right? Like there might be a mission, and let's say it's going to be more efficient to do it to where you go in guns blazing, but it's more fun for you to be stealthier, but it's not as efficient, right? So you want to take that approach. Just you don't want to get out of your zone here on this balance chart. Once you start getting out of the zone, then the game doesn't become fun for you, right? Like if your dot's to the left, say you find a guide that's way off to the right, right? Like it's efficient as possible. You don't necessarily want to follow that guide. You want to take maybe some principles of the mechanics from it. But if you go into a game like this, let's say, and you just kind of want a bunch of randomness, but then you start getting into where everything's got to be perfectly aligned and all that, it's going to take the fun away for you. So that's kind of what I'm getting at on this diagram here. Okay. Like I said, I might make a whole scripted video and talk more about it, but hopefully everybody kind of gets the point that I'm getting across here. And again, I'll make my guides to where I kind of think my dot is, maybe a little bit more to the right, because we want efficiency, but at the same time, I don't want people to not have fun, unless that is your style. Like I don't want people to not have fun and just everything's about the numbers and it's got to be as efficient as possible, right? So let's kind of get into how I make over 10,000 coins a day in this game while sticking to my philosophy, right? Like I don't have anything min-maxed. And the way I do that, right, is through our market. So I have all these services, right? I have resource stall, that sells a bunch of items, right? You can see, and they almost make 500 coins a day just off buyers, fertilizer, salt, 1,500 altogether, right? We have clothing stalls that are making a bunch of money. Tool stalls, right? We're selling iron arrows, battle axes, swords. So you can tell right away now that I have a much more balance of items, right? But like we do have a lot of fish market things and honey. So this is kind of where the efficiency side comes in. They're really easy to do, and they make a lot of money. Right? If we look at that, like this vendor alone is bringing in over 1,300 coins a day by just selling honey and salted fish. Right? So that comes into, again, that diagram. So, it's fun for me to have all of this balance. Maybe for you, you might want to just get into mining, right? So mining's going to be your thing. And that's the fun part about these sandbox games, is it allows you to just do that, right? So if I didn't want all this crazy stuff, and let's say I just wanted to make a bunch of mines, right? Like I can get a bunch of mines, I have a ton of iron now, and now all of my, my service people are tool stalls, and they're selling just a ton of iron tools and weapons and all of that. So, so this guide isn't going to be, and I don't want to say guide or a guide slash episode, right? It's not a, hey, go and only sell this, only sell iron arrows because it's the most efficient thing possible, right? Like we could crunch numbers and do that, but that's not fun for me. Like again, if it's fun for you, then do it that way. But if not, then kind of find your balance. I really enjoy farming, right? So let's come look over here. Like I enjoy the farming aspect of it, and I enjoy the management part. So if we go back to our fields over here, right, like I'm not doing anything with the farm anymore. All of our farmers are. I enjoy actually, working, if I'm working on the village, I like going to the forge. So I don't have any forge people, and I forge all of our equipment and gear and whatnot that we sell. Okay, but so what it is, like, that's fun for me. There's so many ways to make money in this game that you just need to basically find what is exciting and fun for you to do in this game. If you only want to do the farming, then set up a giant bunch of farm fields and you're gonna make your money that way. If you wanted to do the whole honey and fish thing, I mean, you could probably easily make 10K a day off just honey and just fish, right? It wouldn't be impossible at all. But again, finding that balance and finding your balance, I think, is the key to a lot of gaming nowadays. I know people are very quick to get to a point where they're blaming games for not being fun, right? And I think a lot of that comes down to this diagram where if, let's say, you're a person way to the right, like you're a min-maxer, and the game that you pick up is supposed to be super cool, but it's chaos, right? There's no organization, but that's the way they intended it. So that game, it might be a good game, but it's not fun for you, and vice versa, right? So like, if there's a game and it's all about efficiency and everything and organization and resource management, and it might be an awesome game, but you're one of those people to the left that enjoys the chaos of everything, and it's just a free-for-all casual experience. That game's not going to be fun for you, but it might be a really good game, right? So I think if people think about this and kind of find where they're at on the diagram and go to their strengths of what they actually enjoy, instead of playing a certain way because people in guides tell you to play that way, you play your own way. And I think Medieval Dynasty is such a fun game because it lends itself to that. Like I can literally just make a bunch of farms and I can make a ton of money off of it. I can make just apiaries and I can make a ton of money off of it. So again, I hope you didn't click on this thinking that the guide was like, do this, this, and this exactly, and you're gonna make 10K a day just like we do. It's not like that at all. I really think that making 10K a day in this game can be super fun as long as you stay within your bounds and you get at what you want to do, right? Just like we talked about. Maybe it's mining, maybe it's farming. There's not only one way to make money in this game. So, but yeah, right. Kind of a quick video. Again, hopefully the diagram makes sense. If you have questions or any comments on it, please feel free to go ahead and lend me those. And I think what I might do is, I think I'm gonna make, a video just based on that philosophy, but I'm gonna script it and kind of go through all of my thoughts on it. So right now, just talking, I'm sure I'm forgetting a couple things that I wanted to mention on it. But I kind of wanted this to just be like a freelance episode where we're covering some Medieval Dynasty stuff. We're talking about how we make a lot of money, and then applying the philosophy to that. But yeah, I guess with all that being said, hopefully you enjoyed the episode. Tune in to the Medieval Dynasty series if you're interested. It is a very fun game. I'll leave the the link here so that you can get to the playlist. I believe, like I said, we're in episode 74, and it's just been a fun time. A lot of really cool people in the community that have been watching. So Yeah, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Maybe you learned a little bit of something. Maybe you got something to think about. Otherwise, go out there and be a good person. It's not that hard, and I will see you on the next one.